Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham. Rachak Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace, mercy to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 men that are doing this work in sincerity and in truth around the four corners of the earth. And much love to the one-third and the innumerable multitude of you believers out there. To you all say Shalom. I'm the brother Yeshaya, and I pray, Lord willing, that this lesson is edifying through the Spirit. All right, as we can see, we see gas increasing. We see prices increasing. We're seeing electricity increasing. We're seeing all these different things that are happening in the earth, right? And, obviously, through the Spirit, we have lived in all these different times and generations. But if you understand what I'm saying, there is no generation been like this one except the time of the flood. But, it's truly a wicked generation, man. Now we're in a world now where people are consciously making fun of war and bad times. All right, that's the time that we're living in now, and it's never been a time like this. Everybody knew wartime was meant to be taken serious because one, now your country is in jeopardy, your family is in jeopardy. Your livelihood is in jeopardy. Your land is in jeopardy. Your resources in jeopardy. Your safety is in jeopardy. Your security is in jeopardy. And your life is in jeopardy. Okay? So whenever it came to wartime, it was always to be taken serious. But now that we're living in this day with social media, this is how bad the world has turned to where I've had people on my timeline just making fun of war and World War III and getting sent off into the war. It's so much childishness surrounding it that it's ridiculous, man. I even got family members that do it, and that's how wicked this world is turning. That you see more and more reason why the Lord gonna have to burn this place, because it's like, all right, if you can't take war seriously, how are you supposed to take anything else seriously? So it's all right. It's gonna become really serious when it's at your front door. All right. But let me read. This is Proverbs 10. I'm going to start at 19. The point is really in 23. It says, in the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise, right? So holding back some of the things that you say is always going to be a wise thing. We always grew up learning, think before you speak. We live in a society now where everybody has an opinion. Everybody wants to run their mouth. Everybody wants to talk mess. Everybody just wants to say something. But the Lord says, he that refraineth his lips is wise. It says, the tongue of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. Right? So the times when we do speak, there's choice silver. There's the things that people need to hear. Right? But it says, the lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. Right? So the Wadi Yahweh Shem Ashai, he's put the Spirit on us, starting with the apostles and the elders on down, has put the Spirit on us to feed many spiritually. And that's the Spirit, because we were just talking about how men won't come around. They'll come and say, hey, can I have some water? Can I have some food? But they don't want to actually get the food and the water that's mentioned in the scriptures, which is Yahweh Shai. So it says the lips of the righteous feed many. So, I'll never forget this one guy. He was like, hey, man, y'all got something to eat? And I said, we got some real food for you. We got some drink for you that'll I said, if we give you a bottle of water, you're going to thirst again. But we got the water where you'll never thirst again. You'll never thirst ever again, man. But Jake don't be wanting to hear that. Jake, like, nah, give me that bread and that water. All right. That's all they want. They want what they say in the world. They say, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime. You see, that's the thing. But the world now, and 2/3 of our people, they've been putting that mindset of the Edomites, starting with the forefather Esau, Edom. And why do I say that? It's because Esau, Edom, it says he sold his birthright for one morsel of meat, right? That red pottage, right? He said, what is his birthright going to be unto me? I'm likened unto death. So, so that's the same way. We be like, hey, yo, let's teach you how to fish. He be like, hell no, give me that what you just made right there. I'll take that. Jacob like, all right, you want it? Give me your birthright. I'll give it to you. And he sold his birthright. He's supposed to say, hell no. He's supposed to say, hell no, I'm not giving you my birthright. I'll find something else to eat. You see, but this society in this world, right? They don't want the food of the Lord. They want the food of the world, right? But it says, but fools die for want of wisdom. So they are, you have fools out here trying to appear wise, but you give them the truth and they're still all the more foolish, right? It says, the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it, right? So the time is going to come when you're going to see the men of the Lord getting blessed, right? These people are going to start mourning and have vexation of spirit, but our blessings are going to come, and we're going to be rich in the spirit, man, and adding no sorrow with it, It says, and this is the point here, it says, it is as sport to a fool to do mischief, but a man of understanding hath wisdom, all right? So it says it is sport to a fool to do mischief, man. And that's the thing. You do out here being wicked and you being a demon and you being through in the world and everything is taken as a sport. Everything is taken lightly. Nothing serious anymore. And now, do we like to laugh? Absolutely. Do we think shit's funny? 100%. Y'all, we like to laugh too. We believe in humor too. But we've always been taught there's a time and a place for everything. And I think that's what's important, right? If you're in the middle of class, you don't bust out laughing, right? If you're in the middle of even people that go to church, you in there, you don't bust out laughing. There's a time to be serious. There's a time for joking. Matter of fact, it's a perfect transition. That's Ecclesiastes 3. I'm going to read 1 and then I'm going to jump down to verse 8. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. You see? So to everything, there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. There's a time to be serious. There's a time to joke. There's a time to have fun. There's a time to lock in. There's a time for everything. There's a time to love. There's a time to hate, like this chapter mentions, right? But verse 8 says, that's it. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. You see? So there are times for everything under the heaven. But right now, people are they're acting like fools right now. Right? And matter of fact, verse 4 says a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Right? So if somebody, like say they just had a family member that just passed away, you don't turn on a goddamn, turn up track, doing some shots. You don't do that when somebody just had there's a time to play. You could tell that they're mourning over that family member. You see, so you got to know time and place. But this society, social media has told nothing but content creation, foolishness, skits, ignorance, arrogance, lack of humility. Right? Foolishness and sport. That's what they've created in this society. A bunch of mischief, a bunch of fools that are intending mischievousness as sport, man. All right? And I'm going to get this one. This is Ephesians 5. I'm going to start at 1. The point is in 4. It says, be ye therefore followers of the Most High Yahweh as dear children, and walk in love as the anointed Yahushua also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to the Most High for a sweet-smelling savor. Right? So we're offered to Yahweh from Yahushua as a sweet-smelling savor, right? As long as we keep doing the things that he requires of us. It says, but fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints, right? So you're not supposed to be caught in illicit sexual actions. You're not supposed to be caught dealing with you're not supposed to be. Let me say this. You're not supposed to be with a man. A man is not supposed to be with a man. You're not supposed to be eating pork, right? You're not supposed to be shaving your beard. You're not supposed to be looking at taking something from somebody else, right? It says, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints, right? Because when you go into saint goes into being holy, being separate. So the Lord says, don't let him be named once among you. That's really righteousness, right? When nobody can say, hey, yo, that dude over there, That dude is, we saw him eating bacon, or that dude, he knew he knew that woman was my wife, and he tried to take her on a date. That's shameful, man. Right? That's going off. It says, neither filthiness nor foolish talking, right? So just foolishly talking. That's just ignorant, arrogant, man. Some people just talk just to fucking talk with no premise and no end in sight. All right. It says, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Okay. So, it says, for this ye know that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, hath any inheritance in the kingdom of the anointed and of Yahweh. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh upon the wrath of the Most High, upon the children of disobedience. Be not therefore partakers with them, right? So we're not supposed to be partaking in wickedness, man. All right, but the point I wanted, it says, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting. All right? So I went into that word jest because, whenever I'll be watching stand-up sometimes, and I've always learned this tactic too, because, I like to talk shit and make jokes, you know what I'm saying? But also I'm a very, and this the thing, I tell brothers, like, we make, of course we like laughing and making jokes, but a lot of times we use them as defense mechanism. Growing up, people used to try to fuck with you, used to rap or make jokes to try to get out of certain situations, things like that. Or just as breaking the ice, all that kind of stuff. But there's a time and a place for all of that, right? You don't use serious moments to make jokes, okay? But with stand-up comedians, what I was saying is there's something called truth in jest, all right? There's always truth in jest. So you can make a joke, but there's supposed to be some truth in it. But the problem with these people, they're just jesting foolishly, okay? I wanted to get that word jesting here. Eutrapelia, and it's G2060, 2160. And it says, pleasantry, humor, facetiousness. It says, in a bad sense, scurrility, ribaldry, low jesting. So when I heard, I got some of these definitions too. But it says low jesting. That's when you say, man, that's a low blow. When you used to make jokes and you be like, damn, you just took it too far. But that's how these people are with the war and things like that. The E-files coming out, people making jokes about that shit. And they be like, oh, too soon. Making jokes about the E-files, making jokes about children getting ransacked, making jokes about people locked up and downtrodden, making jokes about World War III. All right, when your ass get drafted and sent off and they put your ass a strap in your hand and put you on the front line, it won't be so funny, man. All right, but the definition for scurrility, it says refers to the quality of being scurrilous, defined as coarsely, vulgarly, or obscenely abusive language often used to damage a reputation. When you go so far, you didn't cross the limit. Now you want to damage their reputation. And that's what Esau has done to us, man. It says it describes gross insults, malicious rhetoric, or obscene jests. So that's not necessarily the extremity of what I'm saying in this lesson. This one and ribaldry, they both like taking it to the next level, but that's what people get involved in, right? It says ribaldry refers to humorous, often coarse or irreverent language and behavior frequently centering on sexual innuendo or vulgar topics, right? So making jokes, making light sexual jokes, right? But this is the main one that I wanted to get that fit the point. Facetiousness, and I use that word quite a lot, honestly. I'll be like, is that dude being facetious, right? It says facetiousness is the quality of being witty, humorous, or jocular, often at inappropriate times. It involves a lighthearted or joking attitude, sometimes used to avoid taking serious matters seriously, and is characterized by flippancy or levity, right? You're being flippant, right? So you might say this can be good and bad, right? Sometimes you can be facetious. You're just trying to lighten the mood or something like that. I can be facetious sometimes, but when it's a serious matter going on, I'm not like that. Like we were talking about heritage and nationality a couple weeks ago, and we had a Moabite that was just up there like we talking about serious things, and he's like making jokes, trying to be facetious. in the middle of a very serious conversation. So I had to tell him, I was like, I said, you're like a child, man. I told him the Lord was going to destroy him. I was like, the Lord gonna take you out. I told his friend, we the brothers, Gabar was like, hey, brother, I feel like you're an Israelite. His friend, because the friend was a so-called white Israelite foreigner, and he was a Asian, but he might have been a straight-up American Moabite, man, right? But, Gabar was like, hey, brother, I feel like you're an Israelite. I was like, yeah, you need to get away from this dude, because this dude's gonna get you in trouble. He's childish, That dude was childish as all hell, man. The Lord gonna destroy his ass. But anyway, this mentality with joking and making everything's a joke in Babylon, man. Babylon is falling, right? Well, now, in order to escape the idea that y'all going to war, you make jokes about war, You don't think the Lord looking down in this and be like, all right, you laugh. What they say? Laugh now, cry later, which is in the scriptures, right? It's like I had something on my hand. But laugh now, cry later. Laugh now, weep later. Luke the 6th chapter tells us that it's worded a little different. But let me see if I can get one on that real quick. Yep, Luke 16 and 21. It says, "Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled." And see, we're hungering for the word of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, that food that I was telling you about a minute ago. We hungering now, right? But people in this world, they hungering. Damn fast food ads coming out, all the damn CEOs eating their food. Now everybody's going back to the damn fast food restaurants just to get the food that they're trying with that huge advertisement that they did with all these companies, right? But they hungering for that. They hungering for GMO bullshit, but they not hungering for the word of the Lord. So the Lord said, we going to be filled, Lord willing, we be those men. It says, blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. So we weeping now. And so when this thing is all said and done, we're going to be the ones laughing. Whereas the opposite is going to happen to them, which we read in verse 25. It says, woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. So all these people that are laughing and making it like it ain't no big deal, they who we talking about prophecy, they're going to be having full of famine in the times to come. They're going to literally, and then what's the biggest famine is going to be is the famine of the word, where they're not going to be able to have the, it's one thing not having food, but it's another thing not having answers in a time of uncertainty. That's true fear, man. Right? It says, woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep, man. So, and we, like we mentioned, we pray the Lord have mercy on our families, man. But there's so many people out there in this world that I be seeing jokes about ever since this whole thing has started. So many damn jokes and skits have been coming out. But that's all right. Waiting till the Lord ready to put y'all asses in the fire and send you over to them wars. And y'all thinking y'all not gonna go. Y'all asses is getting sent. Y'all ain't learned nothing but social media and TikTok dances. Y'all, and then they said women now may be up for the draft too. Y'all wanted equality so bad. The Lord might put the spirit on them to put a lot of y'all in it. Now we know that the bridegrooms are gonna be main ones going off in the war, but hey, some of you women might get sent too. Trodden down is starting to get new meaning. This is Jeremiah 51 and 30. It says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken, right? So even the mighty men in this place not trying to go to war, right? You got dudes in the gym and shit like that. Like, I'll be in the gym and you see the motherfuckers in there. Big, swole motherfuckers, you ask them to take a gun and go fight in this war, they're going to be like, no. Right? It says they became as women. They like, nah, I'm going to just stay at home. But you got people making jokes about war. And really, ultimately, they're making jokes about prophecy because we're telling them how serious it is. But this is what the scriptures say. They have misused the prophets. Right? We've been giving you that fresh and true spiritual news every week. And these people keep going down doing wickedness, man. And so you're going to have a lot of faith in these coming times. And that's not what they're going to have. You're going to be sent off being drafted into the war faithless, man. All right, Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for the evidence of things not seen. You know, so we hoping, we praying, we asking the Lord for more faith. But these people are just making jokes. They having fun. They want Hellcats, which they never gonna be able to drive nor see. You know, young niggas going to war. They got all these jokes, you know, about you having to switch and shit, going to war and not listening. Hey, Esau gonna line your ass up, and then you gonna get lined up, man. And I ain't talking about a haircut. You know, shit crazy, man. Let me see here. It says Ecclesiastes 34:14, call all y'all, whoso feareth the Lord shall not fear nor be afraid, for he is his hope. So we fear the Lord. So we ain't worried about all of these things that's coming. But you people are making jokes. Look at the irony there. The irony is that we're not making jokes. We understand the seriousness of prophecy. And we got the help of the Lord. Right? Lord willing, we be those men. We got his protection. But you people have no protection from Esau. You have no protection from these wars. You have no protection from famine. You have no protection from drought. You have no protection from the sea hip. Right? You ain't got no protection, no defense, except your damn gun that you got in your closet that may not work. Right? But yet and still, you're the ones making jokes instead of trying to find Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. You see? So the time is going to come when the Lord going to destroy all of this shit, man. And we're going to be thanking him and praising him. You see? This is, I had another verse, but it's not quite as fitting as I thought it was. But I'm going to get this last one. This is Hosea 6 and verse 5. It says, therefore I've hewed them by the prophets. I've slain them by the words of my mouth. And thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. You see? So the judgments of the Lord going to go forth. Just like in the morning when you wake up and that sun pop out. Or when you walk in a room and you turn a light on to see. That's how the Lord's judgments about to come forth. Just like light, instant. It's going to come forth breaking loose on these people, man. So they getting hewed down by the men of the Lord right now. Every week out there, you already getting slain by the words of the mouth of the Lord, by his men. So now the Lord just got to meet the physical promise, right? Because we already tell them verbally, the warning has been placed, but now the physical promise, right? That's what I'm saying, bro. We don't make threats, man. These are Yahweh Shema Shai making promises in this book, man. These are not threats. When he says he's going to destroy America by thermonuclear fire, that is not a threat, brother. Don't listen to Bishop Nathaniel. That is not a threat. That is a promise from the Most High, mentioned all up and down through the Bible. Old Testament and the New Testament, his promise of destroying this place, man. It says, for I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings. You see? So we want to secure the knowledge of the Most High. You see? We desire mercy, and the Lord desires to give mercy, man. All right? But you got to do right by the Lord. It says, but they like men have transgressed the covenant. There they have dealt treacherously against me. You see, they have done treacherously against Yahweh Shema Shai. So the Lord is about to do treacherously against them, man. Right? Taking everything as a joke. Taking prophecy as a joke. It ain't going to be no joke when y'all getting that sea hip in y'all hands, man. When the enemy Esau Edom really trying to do you in, you're going to see how truly ruthless this man is, man. And how callous he's become. We've always told you who's the enemy, man. But now you see your government falling, prices increases. When all the odds are against this world, they're going to know then that the men of the Lord have been guiding them in the right direction this whole time. Lord willing, we be at that number. But let me see here. Put up with that one. I pray to the Lord willing that this lesson is edifying. I want to give all the praise, all the honor, all the glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rahakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and mercy to the elect. Until next time, Shalom.